Hi, everyone. So, I'm a huge 49er fan, a huge Brock Purdy fan, and this is my second video on my YouTube channel. And the Niners are playing the Green Bay Packers. There's been a lot of talk this week about how terrible Brock Purdy is, and there's been a lot of talk about how great Jordan Love is. And so, I've been wanting to speak out about to an audience about how wonderful Brock Purdy is, and this is just a great opportunity. So I hope people are actually watching this, and if you do, I'll put links for everything in the description page. If you do, please like this video and please subscribe so that I can make more videos and hopefully support my family. Intellectually lazy narratives out there that are just false about Brock Purdy. And so what we want is a statistically based, evidence-based, informed opinion about how good is Brock Purdy? How good of a year did he have this year at 23 years old? How good was his year? Let's take a look, because everyone, all these people, say that he's terrible, that he's the worst quarterback in the playoffs right now. I don't know why they choose that as a talking point, but they do. So let's take a look. So let's compare him to Jordan Love, whom a lot of people are saying he's, essentially, the next coming. I mean, that he's just fantastic. That he's just taken off the last 10 games, So let's just take a look. So let's look first at statistics, which is the basis for, any informed opinion. Because if you don't rely on statistics, then there's no basis for your opinion. And we can't have a conversation. And they keep these statistics because over the decades that the NFL has been a league, they have determined that these are significantly important statistics to keep track of, to evaluate players. That's why they keep them. So let's see. Pass attempts. Jordan Love had 579 pass attempts. He was fifth in the league. Brock Purdy had 444 pass attempts. He was 20th in the league. And so Brock Purdy threw 123 less pass attempts than Jordan Love. And that's important, as you'll see down the road here as we work through things. Completion percentage, 64.2% for Jordan Love. That's 20th in the league. Brock Purdy, 69.4 completion percentage. Dak Prescott had 69.5 completion percentage. So that makes Brock Purdy second in the league in completion percentage. Yards per pass attempt, Jordan Love was 14th in the league with 7.2 yards per pass attempt. Brock Purdy was first with 9.6 yards per pass attempt, not completion, just attempt. And that's historically a significant number. The record for is by Kurt Warner, 9.9 yards per pass attempt in 2000. Brock Purdy has this year had the second best yards per pass attempt since 1956. So essentially, it was a different league in the 40s and early 50s. So you can see that Brock Purdy has this year, his 9.6 yards per pass attempt was second best ever. Passing yards, 4,159 for Jordan Love. That was seventh in the league. Purdy, 4,280 passing yards, fifth in the league. And remember, he threw the ball 123 less times. So what would have happened if he would have thrown the ball 123 more times, the same amount as Jordan Love? How many passing yards would he have? Because even when he threw it 123 less times, he was 20th in the league in pass attempts. He still threw for 120 yards more approximately than Jordan Love. So we know how many yards per pass attempt Purdy averaged, 9.6. And we'll just round that up to 10 to make this easy. By 123, that's the pass attempts less than he threw in Jordan Love. And that gives us that number, 1,230, if we add it to his total passing yards of 4,280, that gives us a season where Brock Purdy threw 5,510 yards. Just let that sink in. I mean, if you realize how significant that is, 5,510 yards. If he would have thrown the ball the same amount as Jordan Love, which was only the 5th most in the league. We're not talking about, the 5th most in the league instead of the 20th most. 5,510 yards is a new record. Drew Brees has the record for passing yards in a single season at 5,477. He did that in 2013. 5,510 is a new NFL record. If Brock Purdy would have thrown the ball as much as the 5th most person in the league, and that's Jordan Love. So that's how significant that 9.6 yards per pass attempt is. It's the 2nd best ever. That would have been a new record. Touchdowns, 32 for Jordan Love. That's 2nd in the league. Purdy, 31, which is 3rd in the league. But he played one less game, and he threw the ball, like we just discussed, 123 less times. So let's figure out how many touchdowns he would have thrown if he threw the ball as much as Jordan Love. So we take the number of pass attempts. So first we want to figure out how many pass attempts did it take Brock Purdy to throw a touchdown on average. So we take his 444 pass attempts, divide it by the number of touchdowns, 31, and we arrive at 14.32 pass attempts. So it took Brock Purdy 14.32 pass attempts on average to throw a touchdown. So we take that 14.32, pass attempts throw a touchdown, and we multiply it by 123 if he'd thrown 123 more passes, and we get 8.6 more touchdowns. And that gives Brock Purdy 39.6 touchdowns. So you can round it down to 39, or you can round it up to 40. Either way, if we round down to 39, that's the 20th most touchdowns in a single season ever. And Brock Purdy is tied with Brett Favre with 39, and that's Brett Favre's best season. He never threw more than 39 touchdowns. And then again, I didn't check, but if we go to 40, that a lot of people are tied, at like 40. I'm sure that bumps Brock up to like 13th best ever. But so interceptions, 11 for Jordan Love, which is 104th in the league, which is good. High number is good for interceptions. Brock Purdy, 11, which is also 104th in the league. But Jordan Love threw the ball, 123 more times than Brock Purdy. So Brock Purdy, if he did throw the ball 123 more times, he would have thrown more interceptions. So let's figure that out. How many more interceptions would he have thrown? So we take the number of we want to figure out how many pass attempts it took for Brock Purdy to throw an interception on average. And so we take 444 divided by 11. So it's 444 pass attempts divided by 11 interceptions. And we get 40.4 pass attempts it took to throw an interception on average. So if we multiply 40.4 times 123 pass attempts, we get 3.04 interceptions. So 3.04 more interceptions. So that's 14 interceptions then. And that's really not much more. But yeah, so you would have wound up with 40 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. That's historically significant year. If he just thrown at the ball as much as the 5th most in the league this year, which was Jordan Love. QBR, I'm not a big fan of QBR just because ESPN isn't exactly forthcoming about how they arrive at this number. What exactly it measures and how each statistic is weighted, because it claims to measure overall quarterback play. But a lot of people really rely on this one. So for QBR, Jordan Love ranked ninth in the league, which is good. And he had a 62.0 QBR. Brock Purdy was first in the league. He had a 72.7 QBR, which if you follow QBR at all, that's a huge gap. A huge gap. Passer rating. I think this is a good statistic for just pure passing, and yards per attempt is very important also. But Jordan Love was 11th, 96.1. So I mean, he is a very good quarterback. I'm not going to say that he's not, but this is more. In the end, this analysis illustrates just how fantastic Brock Purdy has been. And that he's not the worst quarterback in the playoffs this year. He's actually had a historically significant year. And this last statistic will show you why. Brock Purdy had 113. His passer efficiency rating was 113, which is first in the league. It's the 14th best all time. It's better than Steve Young and Joe Montana's best seasons. And it's Mahomes' best season had a 113.8 passer rating, which really isn't a significant difference, just 0.8. So you could, and when you get up in these higher numbers, small differences, make a difference. So even though they're not statistically that's significant. So, I mean, the vitriol that Brock Purdy has heard has been unbelievable, because if we go through this list of best passer rating in a season, we'll see, follow as I read off the names, and these are all the best quarterbacks ever who are on this list, with the exception of Nick Foles and Ryan Tannehill. But Ryan Tannehill did have some good years. And of course, Nick Foles did too that one year. But everyone will they often compare Brock Purdy to Nick Foles. Nick Foles is the statistical anomaly. The rest in here are Hall of Fame quarterbacks, with the exception of Ryan Tannehill. So first, Aaron Rodgers. He had 122.5 passer rating one year in 2011. Next, Aaron Rodgers again, 121.5 in 2020. Third, Peyton Manning, 121.1 in 2004. Fourth, Nick Foles, 119.2 in 2013. That was a decade ago. But then people glom onto Nick Foles as a unfavorable comparison for Brock Purdy, but they forget about all these other names. Fifth, Ryan Tannehill, 117.5, 2019. Sixth, Tom Brady, 117.2, 2007. So that's Tom Brady's best year, 117.2. Matt Ryan, in that fantastic year where they threw away the Super Bowl to the New England Patriots, had 117.1 in 2016. That's the seventh best ever. Eighth best ever is Drew Brees at 116.3 in 2019. And that's his best year. Ninth, and again, the NFL keeps track of these statistics because they're important in evaluating players. There's no other reason to keep track of them. So whenever someone says, statistics, this and that, it's like, well, what do you base your opinion on then? I mean, just, subjective opinion. Well, okay, I just say Brock Purdy's better. So we're at a standstill then. So you got to have some type of informed opinion to come to the table with. I mean, why? I mean, just you ask people like, well, why do you think Jordan Love is better? If you don't rely on statistics, you don't know. I mean, you just, well, he looks good out there, So let's get back to ninth, Drew Brees, 115.7, 2018. 10th, Peyton Manning, 115.1, 2013. 11th, Patrick Mahomes, 113.8, 2018. So 11th is 113.8, Patrick Mahomes. And Brock Purdy had 113.0 this year. That's really not statistically that significant. So, I mean, just a little bit better. Actually, I'm sorry, Brock Purdy was 14th best. I thought I might have misspoken and said 20th best. 12th, Lamar Jackson, 113.3, 2019. 13th, Tony Romo, 113.2, 2014. 14th, Brock Purdy, 113.0, 2023. 15th, Steve Young, 112.8, 1994. That was the best ever at the time. 16th, Joe Montana, 112.4, 1989. That was the best ever at the time. And then there's more Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Otto Graham, 20th, 112.1, 1946. So as you can see, these are all, with the exception of Nick Foles and Ryan Tannehill, the best quarterbacks ever. And Brock Purdy's season puts him right in the middle. So so statistically, Brock Purdy had a much better year, and he had a historically significant year. And his 9.6 yards per pass attempt, the second best ever. And if he would have thrown the ball 123 more times, he would have thrown for 40 touchdowns and 5,510 yards, which would be a new record. And he would have, and then his 113, passer efficiency rating is the 14th best ever, and puts him right in the middle of a bunch of Hall of Fame seasons. So Brock Purdy had by far the better statistically significant season. So let's look at strengths of schedule and passing defenses. Did he do that against weaker defenses? How good were the defenses that he faced? Did he have the benefit of an unusually easy schedule? The answer is no. So, and also, Green Bay's strength of schedule got better. Got easier as the season went on. So, for instance, there's an article on November 13th, 2023 from sportsbettingdime.com, and I'll put the link in the description, stating that Green Bay had the 26th most difficult season remaining. 26th most difficult. So that means, if there are 32 teams, that means they had the 6th easiest schedule. 6th easiest. Whereas the 49ers had the 9th most difficult schedule. 9th. So if you look at, Niners are 9th and Green Bay's schedule is 26th. Huge gap. So Brock Purdy played against much more difficult teams, much more difficult. So they had one of the most difficult schedules in the league, the 9th. And so what does that conclusion lead us to? Leads us to that Brock Purdy had by far the better season. Brock Purdy had a historically significant season. He had the second, 9.6 yards per pass was second all time to Kurt Warner's 9.9 in 2000. If he would have thrown 123 more passes, the same amount as Jordan Love did, he would have thrown for 40 touchdowns. He would have thrown for 5,510 yards, which would be a new NFL record, and he would have thrown for 14 interceptions instead of 11. Brock Purdy's 113.0 passer rating is the 14th best all time, better than Steve Young and Joe Montana's best seasons, and just behind Patrick Mahomes' best season at 113.8. Another historically significant statistic. So Brock Purdy statistically had a historically significant season. It's a career season. It's a Hall of Fame season. But he did it against some of the best teams in the league. They had the 9th most difficult season. And he put up those numbers, the 9th most difficult season. Yeah, I appreciate it so much. And I'll see you next time.